When we choose to continue to keep our heart in something that no longer serves us, it keeps us stuck. Eventually, at first it might be cute. At first it might be cute. It might seem right. But then after you start growing and healing and evolving, you're like, wait, this isn't a fit anymore. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I am so happy to have you here. As you can tell by the title, today we're going to be talking about when you have no choice but to let go. I feel like us as humans, we put our hearts into things, and once our heart is in something, it's really hard to let that go. And the human experience is all about putting our hearts into things and seeing what we're passionate about, what we love. But on the flip side of that, I do feel like with life, we're forever changing. Life is forever changing. We are forever changing. And with these changes comes different priorities, different beliefs, different passions, different ways of loving. And at some point, we have to ask ourselves, what are we placing our heart in? Where is our heart in? And is this thing, person, place, whatever, is it in alignment with us? And so I do feel like when it comes down to letting go, it could be really hard to do that when your heart is in something. Now, I know for me personally, once I put my heart in something, I am an all-in type of person. And it wasn't until I have gone on this journey of getting to know myself that I would have known that. And so in the past, I would put my heart in things where the evidence was not showing me that it was worth it. But because I made up some type of illusion in my head that this is worth it, I put my heart in that, and it turned out to be not so worth it. And in the end, I learned my lesson, of course, but it did make me think. Our default response to heartbreak or something being disappointing is to just close our heart off. And while that is, sometimes we have to do that to heal, I do think that at some point we have to open our hearts again. And so I asked myself, what did I place my heart into? And is it in alignment with who I am now? Because I'm changing, because I'm going on this healing path. God is showing me that there is more out there for me, and with that comes a lot of changes, and I have to start letting go and let the things fall that are not supposed to be here any longer. Let them go, and that's really hard to do, which leads me to my question. I asked God, I'm like, why is it so hard for us to let go when we need to? And it was because we don't listen to our intuition. We don't listen to our discernment, and I don't know who said this, but someone said, this is how you know this is your intuition, or this is how you know this is discernment. Your discernment has no emotions. So while our hearts is in something and we're so emotional, we have an emotional attachment towards it, and it feels so profound, our discernment tells us the straight answer. Our discernment has no emotions. And so when we choose to continue to keep our heart in something that no longer serves us, it keeps us stuck. Eventually, at first it might be cute. It might seem right. But then after you start growing and healing and evolving, you're like, wait, this isn't a fit anymore. It just does not represent who I am as a person anymore. And I can talk about this, but it's so easier said than done because it's a grieving process. So for me, I had to let go of the family that I once had. Me, my mom, and my sister, we were very, very close. And that was really hard for me when my mom passed and then my sister left me. She had to, she moved out of my house. And I didn't realize that I wasn't dealing with the grief of that until I started healing the grief of my mom. So we hold so many suppressed emotions and so much trauma and so much heartbreak and disappointment in our bodies, and we don't even know it. And so it's not until about 3 years later I'm starting to feel the profound emotion of having my family fall away from me just naturally. You know, it just happened. And so I've been dealing with some heartbreak and grief, which is understandable. But at some point, it's, if you want to grow and you want to evolve, how does holding on to a past version of a relationship or a past version of how things used to be, how does that help you grow? That only keeps you stuck, especially when the situation in the present moment does not reflect that. So you might have an ideal situation, and for me, I've been someone who has been very idealistic. I see things in an idealistic way, and I'm like, it's supposed to be this way, and this is the way, and you know. But as I got older, I realized that sometimes life is not ideal, and things happen in all shapes and sizes in our lives. And it's not about what happens to us, it's about how we react to it. And that's something that I'm personally learning. So with the ideals, we have to be okay with things not happening in the most ideal, perfect way. And it's like, it's taken me having to lose, I won't say everything, but a lot of things that mattered to me to realize that. And here I am standing strong by myself, but there are some positives in the situation that I can look forward to looking at and being able to accept. So we do hold on to things that hurt us so bad, and it leads me, like I said, to the question of why do we hold on to things that hurt us so bad? And it's because our hearts are in it. And so I wrote down a question: what is my heart in? And does that thing align with who I'm becoming? And so as a planner, someone who likes to plan a lot of things in their lives, I've had to surrender to what God wants from me, because the thought of trying to control every single outcome and have every single thing align and be a certain way is just completely impossible. And it's not until I am in this position to where I look back at my life and I'm like, wow, life is really super short and things are always changing. So while I do want to hold on to this, I know that I can't, because I'm forever evolving and I'm forever changing. And so now when we find ourselves being at a crossroads, or not even that, being at a dead end where there's nothing else that we can do, there's nowhere else that we can turn but to go a completely different direction, I think that's the hardest. You know, when you've done all that you can for a situation and it's just not panning out the way you want, at some point we have to let down our sword. And I even wrote down, giving up isn't always so bad, because when it comes down to giving up on something that's just not allowing you to grow, we say giving up is bad and we don't want to give up, and they say keep striving and keep going. But what you got to understand is, when you're on a path to alignment, sometimes giving up in certain situations is the best thing to do. Let it go. And this comes with growth and healing. This comes with higher consciousness. This comes with believing in God, because not the average person can believe in this, because we're not taught that, right? You have to have faith that if something's not working out, obviously there is something better. And I literally just did a TikTok on my TikTok page. If you're on TikTok, follow me on there. It'll be in the description box below. I said that sometimes no is not bad. Sometimes the no is just as good as the yes. Well, if not all the time, the no is just as good as a yes, because when someone is saying no to you, there is something better for you. There's a better yes. Imagine the perfect yes versus the most disappointing no. I would rather someone come and tell me no to something that wasn't for me anyway versus tell me yes to something that was going to throw me off my path. And so this comes with being okay and having emotional control over what happens in our lives. Now, I have had to have that because I've had to sacrifice some things, and maybe you have had to sacrifice some things and let some things go. And I do feel like there is strength in that. There is resilience in that, because that's the brave thing to do. People always tell you to break your back and do this and stick it out and stick it through. But when you're walking the path to healing and alignment, you have to know that certain things are not going to be for you at certain points in your life. And I find myself in that season where things are not panning out the way I wanted them to, and I have to be okay with that. But in the process of being okay with that, I had to cry. I had to cry about it. I had to pray about it. I had to write about it. I had to bawl out. Like 2-3 hours ago, I had a breakdown in my car. These are all things that happen when you're on this path to growth and healing. And it's not easy. People try to make it seem like it's this and it's that, but only the brave souls go on this healing path, because it's not for the faint of heart. It's not all love and light. It requires you to go into the deepest, darkest parts of your soul. Check it out. See what's there. Face it. And not run from it anymore. And allow the light to come and heal those places. And that's hard. That's hard to do. Doing the hard thing is the brave thing. And so sometimes letting go and leaving and taking a different path is the best thing for you, but one of the hardest things for you. It's easier to I wouldn't say really easier, but when you're comfortable in a situation and you're used to getting a certain treatment and you're used to things happening in a certain way, you're just like, okay, you know, it's easy for you to settle. And I think that that's why a lot of people settle, because it's easy. It's dang sure easier than stepping into the unknown. So they don't teach us these things. They don't teach us emotional control over our situations. They don't teach us resilience, because these are the things that we need to succeed in life. I strongly believe these are the things that we need to be happy in life. And so when we reach that rock in a hard place, oh my gosh, that rock in a hard place where you can't get it out, it's not working out, and you just have to drop it, man, it requires a level of strength that they don't showcase. And if you're able to do that, you are so strong. And trust me, I know how it feels. It is a trying process, but it is also a worth it process, and it has been worth it for me. And so while I didn't want to let go of my sister, while I didn't want to let go of my family members, letting go has led me to this: peace, harmony, doing something that I love, talking to the camera about my personal journey in hopes that it helped you. I wouldn't be here. And so I was also thinking earlier, like, we get so caught up in like the distractions, the loudness, what we see. But I'm starting to believe that God is subtle. God has been here this entire time, and sometimes the easiest thing is to let go and say yes to something else. And so I was just sitting here with myself, and I've been going through so much turmoil, trying to figure out, what do I want to do, where do I want to move, where do I want to take my career next, because I'm at that pivotal moment. And it seems daunting to go after a whole new life after living a certain life for so long and you don't have that no more. But I'm just like, it just came to me. What if all you have to do is just say yes to this new life, instead of fighting it, instead of being in turmoil trying to figure out where you're gonna go and what you're gonna do? That's the noise, and that's the distraction. That's to keep you off your path and stop you from moving forward. And so I asked myself, I'm like, has it been this easy this entire time? Am I making it harder than it needs to be? And sometimes we do make things harder than it needs to be, but it's harder to make it harder than it needs to be versus just saying yes and knowing the path is going to be hard, but at least you're in alignment and you're on your way to being in your aligned life. And that comes with bravery and courage, honey, because I'm saying it to you, but it comes with a lot of bravery. But if I can do it, you can do it. Like, it's not easy. I don't have nobody backing me. I don't have that support. You know, I'm just out here raw dogging it myself, me and God, right? God is my anchor. And I come on this camera and I'm being authentic and I'm just being myself, and that is requiring a certain level of vulnerability from me that I've had to work on. So if I can do it, babe, you can work on it and you can do it too. Sometimes all you have to do is just say yes. Say yes to the life that you want to live. You don't have to know the details. We get so caught up in the details and the distractions and the what ifs and the this and the that. Those are traps. Those are traps to keep us stuck. And I had to go through a whole year of overthinking to get to that point, to realize that I'm keeping myself in a trap. I'm keeping myself all tied up just because, and it's to the point where I am making myself sick and unhappy. Now I have to let it go. I have no other choice. When your back is against the wall and you have no other choice and you're put in the spotlight, what are you going to do? This is judgment. What are you going to do? And so sometimes we have those moments in our lives, and I think that that's where I'm at in my life, is God is asking me, what are we going to do? What's going to happen? Where are you going to go? Are you going to say yes to this, or are you going to say no to this? You could be at a crossroad, and it could be, you could say no or you could say yes. And sometimes all you have to do is just say yes if you feel like your happiness and your personal healing is worth it. And I'm here to say, P.S., it's worth it, because what other option do you have? You know, you can stay stuck, you can stay stagnant, and I've done that for so long and I'm just ready for something new. So sometimes doing the bravest thing is letting go. Letting go. But I also think that it comes with something when you have no choice but to let go. When you didn't want to let go, but you had to. And the reason why I can talk about this so much is because I felt like I've had to do this time and time again. But it comes with experience, and it comes with being in that position for you to know it and learning the lessons. And I think that this is what life is about anyway. Learning the lessons and moving forward so that you can live a happy and peaceful, healing life. And when you come from chaos and trouble and all of these things, and you don't have the best upbringing, all you want is peace. That's all you want is peace. And that's to be treasured. But it's not until you lose some things, or you're in the lack of, that you realize what truly matters to you. And that's how it's been for me. Yes, everyone's journey is different. I hope this video helps, and I mean, I hope it gave you some insight for your journey and help you grow and heal. And this is very healing for me, because it's how would I say it? It's a heart chakra awakening for me to be vulnerable, because I'm not used to doing that. So I'm just being honest. This is, you know, I'm not used to doing that. Or I'm not used to doing it in such a vulnerable way. And so it's taken a lot of growth to get here. But I hope that this video helps you. When something gets so heavy to the point where it's to the detriment of our lives, then that's when we know, even though this is the last thing I want to do, I have to let it go. And I gotta let God, I gotta trust that God is gonna bring me something better, and that the puzzle pieces are gonna come together one day. And so If you are into journaling and you're going through a very transformational period in your life right now, I do have my newest guided journal called Divine Metamorphosis out on Amazon now. It is an amazing journal that has helped me. I took the journal that I've used for the past 2 months on my healing my anxiety and my counseling and my grief journey. I put it all in a journal for you guys, and I called it Divine Metamorphosis because this is your divine transformation. If you're in a pivotal space in your life, or you're at a place where you want to break through patterns and you want to upgrade your life to a new lifestyle or a new version of yourself, this is the perfect journal for you. I included 20 guided prompts that I actually used and did myself that helped me get to this point of peace and healing and understanding. It also includes lots of journaling and reflective space for you to journal, and I love journals that has, you know, a lot of lines for me to write and just write however much I want to write, and as well as creative blank space. If you are someone who is creative and artsy, you can do whatever you want with that space. Draw, doodle, paint, color, whatever you want with that space if you're feeling inspired. As well as transformational affirmations that I use to help me reprogram my mind from having anxiety. Even in the midst of an anxiety panic attack, these are the affirmations that I use that really help me be able to reframe my thoughts. So if that sounds like something you are interested in, it is in the link below. I love you guys so much. Like this video and share with someone who needs to hear it today, and subscribe to me if you want to see more content from me. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next